Started with what is yoga, what is chitta, what are the vrittis, and then the 5 different types of vrittis. All those were subject matter of the mind, consciousness. And suddenly Patanjali brings this subject. Suddenly a very big subject, Ishwara. And he is attempting to define something which is very abstract, cannot be defined, but he wants us to define and understand. So Ishwara is here is meant, it's said as God. And then again at the bottom there, Sutra 26, he says Guru, Jagatguru, earliest Guru or the absolute Guru. And then he also talks about the attributes, limitless power, all-knowing. Again at 24, he says it's a special soul. He doesn't say it's a super soul, he says it's a special soul. And then he defines what is the soul. Untouched by the kleshas, afflictions. X means karma, their vasanas, their traces. There is no origin for them. For that, there is no origin. There is no original karma, nor the fruits. There is quite a very deep process here, and see, society right now, due to so many issues, seems to be on a compliance mode. That means seems to agree to every definition of what God is and how one wants to define, and seems like no one is given an opportunity to express themselves fully, because it becomes a very sensitive matter. And when it becomes like this, you see what has happened. When one feels that it is impolite to speak about the higher power or divinity, and then keeps on feeling that it is impolite and it is polite to not speak about it, to respect each other, I think this has gone wrong. There's nothing wrong for one to express one's view about one's notion of what God is. If we believe that God or that divinity is infinite, then everyone has the right to define and accept or view according to their own ways. Isn't that infinity? And if there are 7 billion people here who says that they have 7 billion different views, do you think that is infinity? It's just one drop of infinity, because 7 billion people in this universe is almost nothing. This earth itself seems to be like a speck of dust, correct? So what opinions we have about what we feel about what God is, or what this super soul is, or this special power is, it's still quite limited. The only thing is that when in discussion, it should not go beyond the process which has been defined also in the Yoga Sutras as violence. It cannot lead to violence. It leads to swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means reflection, right? Reflection, understanding, self-realization about my relationship with existence, my relationship with this infinity. Have we had time to think like this? Do we have? Or have we ever reflected on what is there that is beyond the daily routines that we do? Is there this entity or God, or do we allow ourselves to be defined by culture, by what someone has said, by what my parents have told me, or by a person who seems to have some authority over this infinity? And I know that nobody has authority. No one has exclusive right or knowledge about this infinity. It cannot be. The finite mind, the finite presence cannot represent the infinite. But it has all right to talk about that. All of us have complete right to talk about. If we don't talk about this, if you don't talk about God by yourself, to your friends, in a very matured way, allowing one to express oneself completely and totally, then the psychological issue of suppressing one's ability to express leads to a conflict eventually with God. And that's why now you find that we could say that many young people throughout the world do not believe in God. It has created bigger conflicts. When they don't believe in something pure and divine and start questioning and start condemning, then they themselves have no limitations to what damage they can do to themselves, abusing themselves because so angry with society not allowing them to ask the most fundamental question of how I have come here. What is my relationship with the universe? The universe seems so vast. So many mysteries are there, but I am not allowed to ask. Eventually leading to frustration. And if ask the parents also don't know because they were not allowed to ask. So everybody has not been allowed to ask. One or two persons in the community have exclusive rights, but they end up talking like fanatics because they also don't understand. Whereas the young minds have that creative potential and they want to. They don't understand, when nobody is giving them the answers, and then they go and destroy themselves by having bad habits. And that's what's been happening. By here, we open up. Patanjali is opening up this process. You have the right to understand because you are part and parcel of that existence. You yourself and everybody else is part of that divinity. And what is that divinity? And he then goes to establish that there is unlimited potential within all of us. Isn't that what new science is saying? The science of self-development, yoga, all of this says that we have unlimited potential. And are we utilizing this potential? This unlimited potential can only germinate and sprout within us when we identify with absolute divinity. If we identify with myself, then I can feel jealousy with another person, I can feel greed. All that is not reflection of divinity. If I feel absolute love, compassion, kindness, contribute according to how I want to contribute, utilize methods which I feel is effective in grooming myself and others, in no matter what way, because you have to explore the creative process and eventually finding your own character and personality, but that also leading to an expanded state, eventually leading to what we call as enlightenment. Untouched. So the word here is untouched by affliction. Untouched means what? Centered. No matter what is happening around us, you need to respond if untouched by afflictions. And that is you. We have that potential. Untouched by someone's hatred. Untouched by someone's fanatism. Untouched by someone's lack of love or misunderstanding. Untouched by that. And therefore he says that untouched not only by the afflictions or the kleshas, but also the act. Free from karma. All seems to be responding to yes, it's a cause and effect. But here Patanjali says that when the mind is able to come to that state of divinity, it can be untouched by karma. That we can live a life where you are performing, but the performance does not bind you. Normally performance has to bind. This is the law of nature. I do something, there will be a response. I do good, there will be a good response. I do bad, there will be a negative response. But there is a potential of overcoming this cycle. And we have to explore those potential. What are the methods to have, what methods do we have to achieve this karma-free life? One of the ways, I'm not saying exclusive, one of the ways is yoga sadhana. And there are so many ways, worship, prayer, good deeds, karma, understanding, swadhyaya, which is jnana yoga, all of that can lead to a state of freedom. And then it's talking about not only the freedom but the traces, that means the original karma which we seem to be born with can also be dissolved. And the evaluation method for yogis is different. You say that if you are born in a wealthy family but you are given an opportunity to spoil and destroy yourself, that is not the karma that I am looking here. You can be born in the poorest family but you are given an opportunity for spiritual education towards enlightenment. So you see here, it is not very black and white. It is not that I perform so many good charity works so that I am born in a rich family. That is not what this trace is talking about. But we also have the right not to believe any of this. We can say it's just a fluke. It just happens. One person is rich, one person is poor, one person is born in a spiritual family, another one is born in a broken family. All of this is just happening by itself. But do you think it can be like that? When everything seems so precise and absolute in nature, the sun's movement, the orbits, all of this planetary system seems to be so perfect, there must be also perfect reasoning that we have to bring into these lives that we are leading. And bringing it back to a very human-like nature. That starting from God, limitlessness, into the most refined human being. This is ancient text. So it has to define who is the perfect human being. It is Guru. When you yourself have clarity and understanding, you become your Guru, and that is Jagatguru. Jagatguru means you lead yourself to enlightenment. There must be a freedom. At one point, we must be free to think about how we want to achieve this absolute freedom. Even if I have been speaking to you for years and there is some kind of understanding between us about what I am speaking about, you don't have to at all follow eventually when you have the light within you. And I am following my own way. I am not following anyone's way. It's my interpretation. And I celebrate that independence, that I don't have to listen to anyone else in the past. I respect, but I don't have to follow. I can question, I can disbelieve. And this freedom should be celebrated. And if someone else comes, your own child or student, whoever comes and says that what you say here, I don't believe. And I should celebrate that. It's good. Now you go and find yourself. But you can still come to my class. We can discuss. This is maturity. And this maturity in the outside world needs to be seen in our actions. When someone says that they believe in this or they don't believe in this, we have to have that clarity and the maturity. Then you are Jagatguru. We clear about this? So, we can. And I'm not asking you to question the existence of God. I'm asking you to question your relationship to the universe and to yourself and explore the potential of this infinite relationship in the most unique way so that you can find love again. Otherwise, this conflict is going to tear us apart. Where do we go to when you feel guilty? At one time in your life, all sins visit us. There's no escape. Every single thought, action done, undone or not done, just saying that, okay, I'm not going to involve myself because this is not my problem, will still visit us one day. Who are we going to pour our guilt to? What is going to happen if I am unable to release this guilt? At the age of 80, I have not taken care of somebody whom I should have taken care. It visits you again. The mind starts to think, why did I do this now? if I am given this opportunity, I would not have done that. So many things. At that time, where do we burn our guilt? At a time when you are in the 80s and 70s and 60s, where you're supposed to enjoy your life, retirement and all that, you are revisited by the devils of the past, the sins of the past, so-called. Who do you cleanse this? To your teacher? No, I cannot do anything. To your parents? Nobody can do anything. Except we have found the path that leads us to divinity. My own relationship with that. In a form, without form, with name, no name, it doesn't matter at all, because we are talking about a very matured way of infinity. If this is how my father said that this is how God is, and I'm not going to conform. I am going to create my own view, but based on intelligence and understanding and clarity. And then I can pour whatever that feeling that has been suppressed within me, that guilt then is burnt and scorched, and I find peace. It has to be a very beautiful, individualistic path, respecting your independence and respecting everyone else's independence, and that is unlimitedness. So with this we conclude our talk. Namaskar. Thank you very much.